Business Focus with Kudzi Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
Good morning and welcome to Business Focus, where we discuss a lot of what's happening in the world of business. You're also free to come by on our WhatsApp platform and let us know your questions or your contributions towards Business Focus. You come through on 0719 100404. Good morning to you, Kudzi. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Tinashe. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you so much, Kudzi. Let's begin by rewinding back to Friday and look at the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange trading update.
Thank you, Tinashe. So again, there were losses on the ZSE, with the all-share index losing 0.17%. So marginal losses there. The top 10 index also coming off by 0.46%. And then the daily outturn, that's the amount of money that was invested, was a little bit higher at 41.3 million ZiG worth of shares changing hands there, with the bulk of those amounts going into NTS, which got 27.4 million ZiG. NTS is one of those counters that rarely trades on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, but 27 million there, ZiG changing hands there. Econet also getting about 7.8 million. FBC getting about 4.3 million. Pro Plastics 1.3. CBZ 154,000. So that's where most investors were putting their money. And then to drag the market lower was Star Africa, which, in fact, Star BAT rather, was the biggest loser with a 14.96% drop. That's BAT. We'll talk a little bit more about BAT later on in the show. The top losers were Zim Peppers down 14.44%, CBZ easing 11.5%, Dairobot down by 0.87%, and then OK Zimbabwe coming off by 0.82%. The market was, however, not short of risers, with Star Africa leading the risers with a 24.87% gain, followed by Ariston putting on 19.52%, FML adding 15%, Marsh and ZHL advancing by 14.49% and 14.11% respectively. So those were your top risers on the ZSE. On the VFX, the market gained by 0.34%, with gains in First Capital Bank gaining by 5.93%. So that's how the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange traded. And then on the VFX there, on Friday, we saw the listing of the IGU rate. That's the IGU Real Estate Investment Trust, which becomes the first real estate investment trust to be listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. So they are looking to raise to the project, or rather that they are listing. The project should be worth about $62 million, although they managed to raise just around $20 million. They said it's a developmental rate, which is different from other rates that we have seen that have that were listed with all the properties already in place, like the Revitas rate, which is owned by NRZ Pension Fund. So that's how the markets are looking. We're looking on Friday, and hopefully we'll start to see we'll see some trades on the IGU rate starting from today.
You're talking about the IGU rate. What is likely to be the opening price?
I haven't checked what the listing price was on Friday. Yeah, so
okay.
Maybe an update tomorrow.
All right, great. Thank you. Let's pick up a couple of questions before we get to look at the BAT trading update. There is a question here that says, Kudzi, when can we expect it to trade under the Africa Free Trade Agreement full swing?
I have no idea. I remember at some point we went to the ministry trying to do a conference in terms of where we are as a country, and there wasn't much information at that point. I'm not sure what the situation is like at the moment, but what I know for a fact is that if you ask industry players, they are not ready. The survey that was done by CZI revealed that the number of companies that are saying that they are ready for the Africa Continental Free Trade Area has reduced from the previous year. So it means that more and more companies are saying that they are not ready for the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. But it's a homework for me. I'll go and find out when we will fully go into that trading platform. Yeah.
Is it about the companies being ready, or they're trying to protect their interests?
Not really. I think there are protocols and procedures that have to be taken, including with the ministry, the responsible ministry. I think the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, I think it's the responsible ministry that should be able to answer most of those questions in terms of where we are as a country and when are we going to be fully operating under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area.
Kune dzimwe nyika here dzirimo muprogram iyo already dzikutongoita madhiri iri free trade area dzatokwanisa kunongedza this and this nyika yakadai nekadai vane free trade.
I would lie if I say I have got them on my fingertips, but I know there are a few countries in the Western Africa, West Africa, that have already started.
COMESA, yeah. Is it COMESA?
No, not COMESA, not under COMESA. COMESA is a different trading bloc altogether.
Okay.
The Africa Continental Free Trade Area is a different. It's for the whole Africa. COMESA is like SADC.
Okay. So this Africa Free Trade, it's an add up to the likes of SADC, COMESA, and what?
This one is
for the whole Africa now.
It's for the whole of Africa. Although when you look at SADC, for example, it's not only about trade. Then there also the politics that are involved. And they like COMESA. Yes, COMESA is mostly about it's about trade. But there's another one that is in East Africa as well, which is not COMESA. They call it what? I can't remember the actual name. But for Africa continent, it's purely trading. It's purely trading, but with SADC, it involves everything within that, including politics. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much, Kudzi. Let's look at BAT trading update.
Yeah, so BAT says that the consumption of cigarettes is significantly down, and they're actually saying that macroeconomic factors prevailing during the reporting period resulted in a 25% decline in sales volumes. I remember when we were doing economics 101 back in the day, they would tell you that cigarette consumption is inelastic. Even people will still consume cigarettes. I think it was one of the examples. But 25%, yes.
Before I forget, Inon's ECOWAS.
Thank you for that one. Yeah. So 25% decline in cigarette consumption, and this also then resulted in revenue for BAT coming off by 50%, and they're saying it's largely attributable to lower sales volumes and a strategic shift from forward pricing. I think this is the first time that companies acknowledged that there was forward pricing. So they're saying that there was forward pricing in Zim dollars, which resulted in them having more revenue. But now, because they are now using USD pricing in the first quarter of 2025, that has resulted in their revenues coming off in the period under review. However, profit from operations increased by 181%, they're saying that is supported by effective cost management strategies that resulted in a 7% reduction in operating costs. So cost-cutting measures there being implemented at BAT. And going forward in the outlook, they are saying they are looking forward to enhancing delivery to consumers, as well as enhancing operational efficiencies, as well as leveraging on stakeholder engagement. I think these are the strategies that they've put in place to make sure that they have got a better second quarter than they did in the first quarter of 2025.
All right. We have a question from Vincent, who says that yesterday Delta audited financials stated that 80% of their local sales are in purely USD or Forex. They have painted this figure consistently in the last few reports. Yet local retailers claim their local sales are 20% Forex only. Are retailers telling the truth in the view of the Delta's audited assertion?
So if you look at the the results from Delta, and even Delta itself stated it when they were looking at the decline in some of their sales volumes. They actually said it was because of challenges that they were having in the formal retailers, where in some cases some of the retailers are no longer stocking Delta products. So already you're losing your market share because the retailers are no longer stocking. And one of the reasons why those retailers are no longer stocking Delta products is that the retailers were selling in one of the biggest retailers actually was selling the products in ZIG, right? But Delta probably would want to be paid in US dollars. And because of the fluctuations, for example, even if Delta agrees to be paid in ZIG, but because of the currency depreciations, currency devaluation that we saw last year, unonohoda zvinhu zvine at certain price, but by the time you want to pay or you want to restock, price yachinja, hauchakwanisa kuita restock at the same levels. So you can actually go into one of these big retail shops, you find that they don't have Delta products. And if you look at those financials, if you look at the statements that accompany those Delta financials, you see where management was actually highlighting that they had lost market share in some of these big retail outlets. So when we say 80% it's in US dollars, it's not the kune zvakangofanana nekuti pakabuda report yekuti munhu achiti vashandi vangu ndakuvatambirisa ma-US dollars, it doesn't mean kuti every company or every company iri kutambirisa vanhu ma-US. Kune mamwe makambani ari kutotambirisa vanhu more of ZiG than of US dollars. So you find that formal retailers were getting more of ZiG. Because ndokwaingoenda munhu wese unotengesa nemazig. But yes, so you can't compare the two.
Okay, coming back to BAT, someone is saying that about cigarettes, I think BAT is failing to cope with the stiff competition from other players.
Pama-cigarettes pandijamba, muri haasi kuputwa here, chichaita dado nechii?
Well, this is one specific company, so we don't have numbers for the whole country.
Okay.
But this is the biggest, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the biggest cigarette manufacturer in the country, and they are saying that their sales volumes that they sold in the first quarter compared to the first quarter 2024 have gone down by 25%.
Okay.
Could it be because of stiff competition like this the listener is saying?
Well, we have to then say who is the competitor in that space. So it may be smuggled cigarettes, maybe other cheaper cigarettes. I remember there was some war within the cigarette market where, for example, 1,000 sticks, there is a certain tax that is known, 1,000 sticks must pay so much in tax. But you find 1,000 sticks from another company being sold at a price that is lower than the tax that should be paid, which means that this manufacturer has not paid that particular manufacturer will not have paid tax, because there is no way you can sell cigarettes at a price that is lower than the tax that should be paid for that particular cigarettes. I remember at some point they were saying now they must have Zimbabwe officials kwacho ikoko kunotogadzirwa masigareti akamirira kuona kuti masigareti amagadzira ese abhadharwa tax here. So yeah, there are issues there. There are other products that could be smuggled not only from outside the country but within certain manufacturers zvinongoburitswa neback door zvisina kuenda through the processes ekuzonobhadhara mataxes and stuff zvopinda mumarket, obviously competing with BAT. So yeah, we can't rule out competition from there.
Let's look at trading update from Masimba.
Yeah, so Masimba Construction, this is an interesting one for me as well for Masimba Construction. They are saying that revenue for the quarter was at $8.1 million US dollars, down 43% when you compare with the previous period. And what interests me there for BAT is that they are saying that despite the group maintaining a strong order book, so they're getting the orders, but they are saying the prevailing liquidity challenges also negatively impacted the execution of these orders. And then they are saying particularly in the public sectors where we had, and I'm quoting, where we had to suspend works in order to manage credit risk. They are saying that so they've actually suspended executing some of the works, suspending some of the works to manage credit risk. It means they're getting the orders, but they're saying, should we continue with this order? Moto end up by ground, moto notanga kutogadzira whatever zvavari kugadzira, angave maroads, angave chii. Munyazoziva kuti hatina chaasi kuzondibhadhara. Anditi if it's government, government is kuzondibhadhara inotaura kuti haina mari, anditi. But you find some contractors who still go on the ground. Aritoziva kuti ndakagadzira chakati, anditi, ndakasupply zvakati, o ndakagadzira road 10 kilometers idzi, handina kubhadharwa. Ndikagadzira dzimwe 5 handina kubhadharwa. But munhu iye unoona achienda futi paground unogadzira dzimwe 55 ndopa unozonga handabhadharwa. But why are you continuing with these works when you know you are not being paid? Wozoya wakuita noise kuti government haisi kubhadhara, and yet you agree to have these ningirikeni to go out on the ground. So there are issues there.
Kana uchinyatsoziva ndo vakabata company yako vaimbobhadhara kudhara but havachabhadhara, une choice here only to hope for the better kuti maybe.
Yeah, so yeah, unogona kuti handina choice for you, handiti. But auna kudzoka kati nayo patisari uchichema uchiti vaskubhadhara. And yet you are agreeing to more work without being paid. And it means so yeah, I think the next report here, Treasury, we can talk more about what's really happening in these spaces.
The Treasury first quarter trading update.
Yeah, so the Treasury first quarter trading update, it's showing that government is being frugal in terms of spending. And actually frugal, it means they are very, very, very cautious. Or spend and so you find kuti mari yavakawana yavakakolekta nezimura was more than they spent, although yacho yavakakolekta yacho they was below target. So they've missed the target when it comes to income tax. By the Ranma company, they missed the target yacho budgeted. But they missed that in terms of the actual yakazo yangeri shoma. Same applies net tax on goods and services and VAT. Again, they missed their target. Same applies ne customs duty, excise duty, tax on specific services. All tax heads, and they missed the target. And then they got less than what they had budgeted to collect. I think this shows a picture ekuti either vanga vakanyanya unoziva pamwe makazvitemba muchiti tinokolekta yakawanda zvakanyanya. I think Zimura, if I'm not mistaken, Zimura ekuti they can still collect about more than $7 billion US dollars. That's what they could collect. But in the first quarter, it shows that what was budgeted and what was collected, there's a variance there. They collected lower than that. But in terms of spending, government spent less than they did prior, and obviously it comes to issue they are either they are not contracting or they are contracting but not paying. I remember having a conversation with this very senior official in government, and he was saying, look, what happens, because I was saying, but and he said, no, what happens is that I say, for example, to a certain ministry, guys, you've got 5 million to spend, and I'm not spend 5 million, but the ministry go order 10 million. And so if you come back to Treasury and say, guys, ndibhadhare 10 million, but you unotenga zvinhu zve5 million, imwe 5 yawakazoita chamari nine zvezva ndina mari yekukupa. Let's spend what we would have agreed, what we would have budgeted. Kwete imwe situation tinashe ndakaratidzwa futi yekuti imwe government department rinono order an item anditi robva racontractor for $280 anditi same item iyoyo yopiwa another government department. For example, ndini supplier nditi iwo tinasho ya government department ndokupa this item at 280 and yet same item ndakaipa patisani another government department at 180.
Saka vazogara manje vavega
Treasury same item kai yobvaenda futi yonoitawo maquotations ayo yoona chinhu icho chokuchina pamwe chitoitwa $40. Saka price ati kuzobhadhara. Then obviously unotaka kuti guys, you need to justify first kuti zvinhu zvaufama price aya before I pay you, but patisana ngachanda kubhadhara
ipapo kudzi how true is it with Treasury kuramba kubhadhara zvimwe zvinhu zvakaona zvakainflate? How true is it?
It's true. Value for money, value for, you remember value for money.
But vagamuchira vakatora
ayo is Treasury ka you
that department ndo yakatora
whoever the accounting officer,
but vakabvuma ikoko kadai
but Treasury ingati ayo inenge sinobvuma ka Treasury inozotarisa kuti but chamari iwo
penzerana nevanhu vako iwo
urikuende zvinhu zvikuratidza kuti wakaita overpay or wakaita over contract.
Just to close it off, somebody is saying that can you invite the Treasury Chief, Permanent Secretary George Guamatanga to this radio program to shed light on government payments to contractors and stall works on key infrastructure projects like the Gwai Shangani Dam and so forth?
I'll try to convince him, but he has always said to me, we don't fight our wars in public.
Business Focus with Kudzi Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.